Happening, my man, Tony Silo. What's happening, brother?
Nothing much. What's going on, Big Craig?
Man, we hanging in there, bro. We'll just wait for see if we get
Two
anybody
people.
in the house. I
Let
think
the
we
wind down.
yeah. I know. There's some stuff going on, but
We'll
we'll
figure it out. It'll come.
I'll start start dropping. Like we said, like we talked about. We're planning for
Well, I'm gonna
do
go
some
on different
stuff.
times. I want to start going
Yeah,
live at
absolutely,
different times,
absolutely.
just to crank out spots with people. We'll work it out.
Yeah, definitely. I'm trying to be respectful and not you know
I mean, how
try
much
to
can
be
you
conscious of
really
other people's
do?
time slots and stuff like that. But
We'll get to it.
we
Here's
got somebody.
BX. What's
Let's
up,
see. We
BX? How are
got
you, buddy?
BX. What's happening, BX? Good to see you, man. What's up?
BX, how's the weather by you, buddy? You got bad weather all over the place here.
Just wait for some people to get in here. We'll do a little.
B- BX is a good guy, man. Real good
Yeah,
guy.
definitely came back. It's awesome. Thanks for coming, BX. Do a little coach's carousel
Yeah, but you know
myself.
what?
I'm talking
BX,
to you, Tom.
I tell you what, buddy. We're gonna be all right next year. They know what they have to do. They have ownership that's gonna spend the money. We need another lineman on the left side. They're already looking. They were talking about it last night. I think we're gonna be good. Yeah, it was 80 over here too, BX. We hit 81 over here in Fort Lauderdale. Then you got in the car, it's at 83, but once everything settled down in the car, it was at 81. I took a walk on the beach at lunchtime. I'm
That's not
busy
a
as
bad
shit.
day.
No, I'm so busy with work right now. It's ridiculous, man. I got
Well,
more work than I ever expected for
I
this
know you
time
were
of year.
telling me. You were telling me it's crazy. Cinnamon girl, how are you, my dear? It's always good to see you.
Here's the anchor to this show, the beautiful cinnamon girl. How are you, sweetie?
Unbelievable. She is a loyalist. She's
She
great.
gets it going. We're just waiting for a few more people to come in and we're
Yeah,
gonna start.
Cinnamon girl, are you ready for the crazy football stuff?
She loves
We'll
it.
get it going. And tomorrow we got I think we
50
got Jimmy tomorrow, right, Tom?
yeah, we got Jimmy tomorrow night, and we're gonna have a good show with that. We're gonna talk about real content, not like I grew up there,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that's what happened. We're gonna actually talk about reality that
Yeah.
happens over there, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, we got
Yeah, it was
some
chilly
things
this
coming.
morning,
We
BX.
you know.
It was a little chilly over here this morning. When I
Oh,
woke up at 5:30. I got back up at 5:30 this morning. I had a delivery early, and it was like around 55 ish.
I know, Cinnamon Girl. I see you picked. I think you got the bill. You picked the Bills. I know you. I saw it. That was awesome. You're getting your picks right, better than mine. That's for sure. Tone, it
Clean.
was about 30. It's about 10 degrees here today. 15 degrees, freezing. Last couple days, freezing.
I sent a video from the beach when I took a break before.
Thank you.
It was beautiful out. Let me tell you. Listen, to each their own. Everybody's got a choice where to live. I love it here, man. I make my stops up there, but
Yeah, I know. I'll see you soon, but I'm just saying, man. It
a
was.
couple of
Woof.
days. But it's still that's cold, bro. That's like a shock to your
Yeah,
system. It's a shock to your system when you're not used to it.
I don't know, man. I think I'm getting the older I get. I used to love the sun. Now the humidity bothers me. I've always been construction or being outside. Well, no matter what we're doing, the cold or the extreme heat didn't bother me now. I don't know.
You know what
Uh,
I hear a lot of people say this year that are our age that they fell down, they slipped on ice.
yeah, somebody yeah,
Oh
on the brick. Yeah, yeah. He nearly cracked his head. Yeah, it was
no, a
pretty
lot of
funny. You should have
people.
seen it.
I speak to people in New York all day long. A lot of people said it was ice they couldn't even see this year.
I couldn't see it. Right?
They said,
If there was, and there is a camera. hit the
they
camera.
said,
They're
they
laughing.
said what they said was that they walk and it was all shoveled, but they couldn't see the ice underneath it because it froze so quick this year.
Oh,
I was like, wow, man.
like a ton of bricks, bro. Like a
Nah,
ton of bricks. It was. I'm lucky I didn't crack the back of my head. Honestly, I'm lucky I
nah,
didn't
yeah,
crack the back of my
you
head.
got to be careful as it is. But I'm
Yeah, I
saying
didn't
this
see
is
it. I didn't see it. I
but
had my sneakers. Just not even thinking.
but you
It's a
know,
good
you
thing.
every year you hear people say, "Oh yeah, we fell," but they're always like 10, 15 years older
Yeah,
than you. All of a sudden, it's people in our age bracket slipping on
yeah,
their ass.
and you know you don't bounce up like you used to. I'll tell you that.
No,
I didn't bounce up like I used to. This was a good one. This was a
it
good
gets
one. Tommy Sticks, what's
is
happening, bud?
Tommy Stiggs. What's up, buddy?
I had to put the glasses on.
Hey,
My eyes
Dave
have
D is
been.
here. What's up, Dave?
Davey T, what's up, Davey? What's happening? So what do
I
you think,
mean,
Tone? Little coaching carousel here?
well, let's go with that to start out. You got Jim
Yeah, we.
Harbaugh. Go ahead, you can start it up. You go.
Yeah, well, I I believe Harbaugh. The whole. We put it out there. About Harbaugh signing with the Chargers. I still believe that's going to happen. I think there's two things. Baywatcher, what's happening? What's happening with the Harbaugh situation is two things. I believe it's going to happen.
Yeah, it
Michigan's
will.
trying to hold him to a stipulation, I believe, in his contract. It's a very small stipulation. There will be an out. There's an out in it. He can walk, but he's holding both against the other. Spanos, who owns the Chargers, they're known to be cheap. He's known to be cheap. He's asking for big money, near the 18 million top end of it. And I think that's kind of the holdup. So he's playing both sides. We'll see what happens. And it seems like, and you'll be able to speak on this more we was talking today. The Falcons seem to be in love with Belichick. Got
The
anything on that?
The Falcons are willing to turn over every nook and cranny of the organization to Belichick. That's what he wants. His son's a young coach. You know, he's not ready to take over any kind of thing yet. He could sit back in Atlanta, which is becoming a big hub for people to live in right now. And he could basically say, you know what? I'll sit back here. I'll pick my coaches. I'll pick everything, and here we go.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? So it's gonna be different. But the Harbaugh thing is really getting tricky because here's what happened. He walked in there the other day when we put it out, and he didn't even get an offer until 11 o'clock that night, our time. So 8 o'clock their time. He left there at 5 o'clock. I mean, the Chargers have a problem mentally the way they negotiate, and Harbaugh isn't a great interviewer. I mean, there's a reason he stayed at Michigan all these years as well. He's waiting for the perfect pick, but you're in LA. They've put up a ton of money right now, and you still didn't come to a decision. I don't like that.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna see, Chris. I'm gonna I sent it to your email, Chris. So whenever you're
Yeah,
ready,
he does. Harbaugh uses a lot of leverage, Chris, but this time, what's going on here is if you want that coach and that coach wants to be with you, you put the right offer on the table day one and make it look like you're both solidified going further with each other. You know, the Patriots had a 18-hour opening. They had a new coach. The Falcons are jumping all over Belichick, and that's just a matter of dotting the I's and crossing the T's there.
Yeah, I believe so.
What's up, Matt? You know,
And Matty Sweeney, what's up, man?
so
Um,
you gotta when you got that kind of money and you got nobody in place there, it takes time to build a coaching staff and to get chemistry. And I'm gonna blame Harbaugh as much as Spanos this time because they did put a huge number out there right now.
yeah,
And he had to think about it. Well, you know what? Don't think too long because Spanos is very erratic and he might hire somebody else. But I think
yeah,
Harbaugh, I think they'll work it out by sometime late tomorrow or Saturday.
yeah. And you got all the good name. I mean, you got big name. You got I love Mike Vrabel. I think he's a hell of a coach. You got him sitting there. Um,
I like Vrabel in Seattle because
yeah,
they're gonna offer him a lot of
I
money and a
love
lot of
that fit.
control.
Tone, we
A,
didn't even discuss that. I love that fit.
a lot of control and a lot of money for a guy who was pretty much 2 years ago never gonna go nowhere but Tennessee. You know, and he's wide open. But I think what screwed this up is by the Steelers making the playoffs. Tomlin gets another year or two, whatever. And I don't think he deserves to be there. But I also don't think Dallas is done with their maneuvering. Dallas could fire that coach at any second. You
Absolutely.
can't have that kind of talent and get these kind of results every year.
What's up,
Agreed.
fellas?
What's
What
going on,
is
Chris? How you
happening,
doing, buddy?
Chris?
Good. I had to do this factory reset thing on my computer, and I don't know. I guess I turned the camera off, but at least you could hear me.
That's all right. We good, man.
I
We
got
can
you,
hear
brother. I got you.
BX says Sirianni. Did they make a move on Sirianni yet? There's a lot of friction going on in Philly.
I just heard, not yet. I heard that he's supposed to meet with Jeffrey Lurie, the owner, but I know
Tomorrow.
coming home from work, Ian Rappaport or somebody reported they didn't actually meet yet. But I think
tomorrow
they're probably
is the meeting.
Yeah.
They're supposed to be meeting tomorrow. But here's the thing that I'm waiting on. Belichick got offered everything, full control, 100%. He didn't say yes yet. Now,
Yeah, no.
watching what people are saying since Belichick is gone, Belichick can't be asking for any more money. They offered him the boat. He can't be asking for any more control. They offered him everything. Is Belichick waiting to see what happens in Philly, or does he want to stay the hell out of there because the locker room is a mess?
Yeah.
Well, here I heard. You
Go ahead,
ever
Chris.
hear of Howard Eskin?
Yes, I did.
So yeah, he's like this big Philly sports commentator, been
Yeah,
around forever.
And
He's-
forever.
Yeah, he has close connections with Eagles front office guys, and he said there's absolutely no way they'd hire Belichick because for whatever reason the owner Jeffrey Lurie hates Bill Belichick with a passion, like wants nothing to do with him. Don't know the reason why,
Well,
but
I'll tell you why. You remember the year that Terrell Owens was on the team and they went to the Super Bowl?
yeah,
Okay, wasn't that against the Patriots?
they lost
Yeah.
the Patriots in the Super Bowl.
Okay, something happened when he was trying to talk to him, and he was relatively not new. I mean, it's around the first few years of his ownership, and he tried to talk to Belichick, and Belichick just shrugged him off altogether at a party after the Super Bowl.
Oh, maybe that was it.
And the other thing is, you talk to a guy like that because you got all this money, and you forget you're talking to a coach who basically had run of all of Boston, New England area. I mean, Belichick was looked at as God.
Oh, there I am. I found it out. I figured it out. Yeah, no, I agree. I don't know. I just saw it reported. So I
just don't. No, I believe there is a problem there with Lurie because Lurie is another Jimmy Johnson, even worse. Lurie is one cocky son of a bitch.
Chris, you're a Philly guy, correct? I think we said this. You're a Philly, right? So I was, we all listen to whoever we listen to, but I'm really plugged into Rick Spielman. I like a lot of what Rick Spielman talks about. Not just schematics and breaking film down, but he's a guy that's in the know.
Right.
So
Sure.
like he'll drop some nuggets here and there. And he was talking about, it actually wasn't him, it was somebody else talking about the relationship between Howie Roseman, and you're plugged in more, you're in Philly, or you follow him more. Howie Roseman and supposedly the owner he's like a son to Jeffrey Lurie. He loves him that much. So anybody that would want like crazy control, it's not going to happen in Philly.
Yeah, that's the one knock. Like Howie Roseman runs everything.
Yeah, he
But here's
runs
the
the
deal.
analytical department. Yeah, we're breaking it down. The guy has a lot on his plate, and
But then
basically
here's
that's
the
what
deal.
Belichick will
But
be
here's
doing in
the
Atlanta.
deal. You can't let that guy sit there in that position if you think you're going to get one of these top coaches. Forget about it. It ain't going to happen.
I think you're right. And I think that was part of the issue with Doug Peterson. He wanted to do some of his own things, and they wanted him to do things a different way. Like Doug Peterson, I guess, wanted to promote certain people within, and the Eagles didn't want him, and that's the reason he left. Do you remember the one? There's a YouTube video of the one Eagles draft. I forget who they got, but it's probably when they got Devontae Smith. I think it was the year they got Milton Williams, the D tackle, like the third round or something.
Yeah.
But they're in the war room, and they just made this pick. I don't know, it was their third, fourth round pick, and they're all Howie Rose was going around slapping hands with people.
Yeah.
He went to shake this one guy's hand, and he's just like gave him the cold shoulder, like just get away from me.
Yeah,
But
intense. I love those war room shots. I used to just hate being the draft maniac, that I am. A dear friend of mine, Slimmy, what's up, Slim? A dear friend of mine, stagehand at Radio City. So for years, the draft was always in Radio City.
Yeah.
So I mean, I was blessed. All the time we were,
You go to a lot
in
of
Radio City. So I was always I was at a lot of drafts, and
Yeah.
so my kids learned. That's really how the whole thing started. I used to start breaking down film, and then I'd get to the draft and take the kids when they were small. So that got into them, and if there was some kids from the neighborhood, we would take them, and that
That's
played
not
ball
so
with my
bad.
kids and whatnot.
That's not so
That's how that all started. But
I
the
went to the
war,
one in Philly in
war room's
2013.
great. I used to just hate when they would let the picks out, and you would know the pick. Like if say I wasn't at the draft, you're at home. You don't want to see the guy on the phone. I mean, I didn't anyway. I didn't want to see on the guy on the phone, and then 5 minutes later they're announcing it. Now they do a better job. Tom, what do you think?
I just think that they made it very commercial-like. I like that part, but I think some of these things are not the whole room is happy. You got to convince them as the top guy, the top two guys in the room, and you hear all the bullshit a year later. We didn't want that guy. We want that guy. But I don't think this guy in Philly is going to win anything with that guy because it wasn't bad when they got rid of Doug Peterson, but because I thought Doug Peterson got very lucky when they won the Super Bowl. Everything fell into place. They were one play away. If Brady makes that catch, who the hell knows what that game happens? You know what I mean? So I think that they're going to have to talk to this Laurie and tell him, look, man, you're not going to win if this guy's in full control. That's it.
Yeah.
I think when Chip Kelly coached there, they gave him the reins to do whatever he wanted, and that kind of just blew up. And not in a good way.
You know what this guy reminds me of? Remember Theo Epstein with the Red Sox?
Absolutely.
Then he left and went to the Cubs. And that was a young kid. All right, that's what this guy Howie Roseman reminds me of. I just don't see it happening here. There's too much pressure on him. Philadelphia is harder to play in than New York and New Jersey with the press they get for football.
Yeah,
that's no bullshit.
They're passionate, man. They're passionate.
And Laurie's a hard guy, but Laurie's a hard guy to work with. And maybe this guy is just a yes man, and he's not meant to build the football team, either one of them. I mean, look, let's be realistic. Hurts is not supposed to be the quarterback right now.
That looked like the worst draft. Like, with him in the second round, thinking Wentz is going to be your guy, and then that was kind of lucky too. Because if Wentz panned out, you wouldn't even know Jalen Hurts right now.
Yeah, Wentz. Well,
that's what I'm saying. He was supposed to be down the road, or maybe trade value if he played a couple of games here and there and he looked good. He was not supposed to be the quarterback at this level for them.
I'll tell you.
I mean, I give him credit for what he did. I mean, he's a humble kid. He worked hard.
If you think, Chris,
Tony, I love him, but that's not.
That's
what he wasn't supposed. Yeah, no, I like Jalen Hurts, but this isn't where he was supposed to be a starting quarterback.
I think he's regressed a little bit, so they got to get to the bottom of that. But who knows?
Let me ask you a question: did he regress, or maybe
no? I think it's more of what's around him. Maybe some shit's going on there.
I don't know. Haven't followed
Chris, what do you think?
There's this guy named Joey Shakes, huge Eagle fan. He has a big YouTube channel, and he drops like 2-3 shows a day, it seems, about all kinds of Eagles updates. I follow him a little bit, and I just think that whole locker room just fell apart. Like, I don't think this is on Jalen Hurts. Like, I think he regressed a little bit, but I think it's just more. I think the team quit. I think AJ Brown.
Let me ask you a question. Hold on.
Stop.
Stay right there, and then pick up. BX brings up a good point, and I was going to say it before you guys jumped in. How many games would they actually have won if it wasn't for Hurts and these pushes into the end zone? I said the other night I looked through.
I mean, you'd have to go back and see.
Chris.
Let's go back to the tape.
Yeah, but there's 2 games or 3 games. Forget about at the end of the game.
It didn't work last week, right?
During the game, they pushed in a lot of touchdowns.
Yeah.
That they won those games. I was just saying that the other night.
They had a lot of close calls. Like they should have lost to Dallas. They should have lost to Buffalo. Like they had a lot of close calls this year, no doubt.
All right, let me ask you a question. You both know football. If you're the Cowboys, if you actually have a top 5 draft pick in Trey Lance, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so if you're the Cowboys, would you move on from Dak Prescott right now?
I mean, I think he had his best year. I'd have to go back and watch the game, but was the reason they bombed in the playoffs because of Dak Prescott this year? Was it more him? I mean, their defense couldn't stop a thing.
Yeah, but they couldn't keep up with the Packers scoring. That's their home court. I know that, but you know what? He wasn't leaving them. He wasn't giving the defense a break either, staying on the field there.
Yeah.
No,
You know,
I mean, that's true too.
Let me give you my take on that, Tony. Chris, I'll give you my take on that.
Good.
I think Kyle Shanahan, by him moving on from Trey Lance after what they gave up to get him and just give him to Dallas, I would not move on from Dak for Trey Lance because I don't think there's anything there, and I think he'll wind up getting released shortly.
Hold on a second.
I could be wrong. I'm just saying.
Wait a minute.
Back.
Look at it this way.
And I'm not
Trey
a Dak
Lance,
supporter.
but Trey Lance got hurt, right?
Right.
Then the next option was Garoppolo, correct?
Absolutely.
You're
right.
But hold on. If Brock Purdy doesn't step in, just like Tom Brady did when he got his shot, okay, you don't even know about Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy was supposed to be another DeVito from the Giants.
Yeah, he was Mr. Irrelevant.
Oh!
So
embarrassing, fucking cringy.
So sometimes accidents happen, and that's what happened in San Francisco.
Well, yeah, right place, right time. But Tony, here's the thing. Like, I didn't realize the Trey Lance angle. We don't know how Trey Lance could be a total bust. He could be good. Like, obviously, he needs to get a fair shake somewhere. But I mean, are you going to be the coach that benches a quarterback coming off his best year for a guy that's kind of like could go either way? Imagine if they move on from Dak Prescott, start Trey Lance, and he just implodes. You know how bad that's going to look?
No, I get it, but guess what? You're not getting past the first game of the playoffs, so you got to do some moves. I mean, the running game didn't hurt by losing Zeke Elliott. All right, so it ain't the running game.
I think
this guy just might not be a good leader.
I think Dak Prescott's cap hit is $59 million this year, 55. So they're going to have to restructure him or something. And now, do you pay him another extension? So there's going to have to be a decision made. I don't know what that answer is going to be.
Let me give it to you this. Let me give it to you guys like this, Chris. 27.8% of Dallas's starting lineup is Dak Prescott.
Oh, I'm not a Cowboy fan, but he had an
What, you mean like their production or just...
No, the cap. The cap. He hits the cap.
Okay, yeah, I got you. I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
He hits the cap at almost 28% next year.
Yeah, I think CeeDee Lamb. There's a few players tied up that really hold them up. So
I'm not a big money guy. I mean, I know obviously it's very
important. Yeah, no, I'm not either. But I happened to come across it today. That's why I'm even talking about it.
You know,
but it does play into their business decisions. It does.
It's hard, man, because you need a good quarterback, and
Miami.
You can't overpay him because then you need the pieces around them. And you need money for them, but I don't know.
Let me ask you like this, Chris. The way that Carson Wentz looked before he got injured, I thought he was one of the top 3 quarterbacks in the NFL.
Who was that
at that
again?
time? Before Carson Wentz got hurt that time, when Nick Foles came in.
Yeah.
All right. They moved on from Carson Wentz without even giving him really another shot. They weren't interested in him in the next year, but they were forced to do it because they kept him for a certain date. And Doug Peterson made a big stink about it.
They didn't give him a shot. They kept him for a few years. I think
No. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is mentally Peterson didn't want him no more, and he knew it. And that's when Peterson was still there. So, they just don't have good stability in there since Andy Reid left. I think Andy Reid actually had them all on the same page. And I think Andy Reid, I don't think Andy Reid gets enough credit.
He owned he anything in a press conference. He doesn't put on the players. He takes on himself. But I mean, I don't know. It's football. I mean, the one thing Howie does a good job. Like sometimes he drafts good, sometimes he drafts shit. But the reason the Eagles were always one of the better teams is because they build on their offensive line. Their offensive defensive line, they always build there first. I mean, it's football. It's the NFL. There's so much parity in the NFL. Who would think that 5 years from, if this is 5-6 years from now, that we would be talking about Bill Belichick being fired possibly. You know what I mean? Like there's so
Ridiculous.
much parity in football. It's just, the worst
It's
team
true.
in football this year, 2 years from now, could be one of the best teams.
Yeah, but you know
so-
what? You know what,
Sir-
Chris? Let me ask you a question. I want you to answer it. How much
right.
does it have to do with these owners that want to be involved compared to the 70s and 80s when they really didn't care? They just wanted Super Bowls. You got
Well-
owners now who Kraft. You got these guys who are known on the scene, and they get a little Jerry Jones. They get a little, cocky about that. They want to have
Oh,
input.
for sure. I mean the fucking Panthers owner sent their franchise back how many fucking years by draft?
Forget
Why
about
did he
it.
want to draft Bryce
Yeah.
Young over the guy was 5'10"? And he
I have
gave
no
up?
idea, Chris.
You
I
know,
said CJ Stroud on 4 shows over him, and everybody,
Oh.
but not only them, everybody in the audience disagreed. Everybody said
Yeah,
CJ Stroud.
it's the whole franchise wanted Stroud except for the owner. It's the same thing with the Browns owner when he drafted Johnny Manziel. It wasn't a good quarterback draft class, but the Browns' top scouts came back. They said, without a doubt, for this class, Teddy Bridgewater's the best quarterback, and he wanted to draft Johnny Manziel to sell jerseys, I guess.
Yeah.
They made a fucking movie out of that shit called Draft Day with Kevin Costner.
You know what? On that, there's no question. There's been some great points brought up, and we could get into them. We could do a whole show on contracts because it's true. Tua, Miami's got to think about what they're doing with Tua. He's going to be up, so they're not going to have the cheap numbers they were getting him at. They're going to have to put in money to him. You got money tied up with the receivers. You got Waddle. You got the other kid, Tyreek Hill. So they're going to have issues there. You got Dak, CeeDee Lamb. You got 3 or 4 players who are going to be holding up the whole salary cap. So you're going to have a lot of restructures going on and whatnot. You guys want to make final predictions on what coaches are going where? Then let's jump into the playoffs because I know our group wants to hear it. What do you think?
Yeah.
Tone, the big 3, Vrabel, Belichick, and Harbaugh. Where do they go? Tony. Then
Okay,
Chris, you-
I think I'll go with Harbaugh first. I think he definitely goes to San Diego, LA Chargers within the next 48 hours. Belichick, I believe, will go to Atlanta. And is the Raider job open?
No, yes, it's still open. Yes.
I think Vrabel becomes the Raiders head coach, even though I think Seattle makes a better fit.
Chris.
That's it for me.
I'm going to say, well, one thing I just saw, I didn't do as much homework as I should have here, but David Shaw just interviewed for the Chargers job. You guys
Really?
know that?
From Stanford.
Yeah, it just came up where he interviewed.
Yeah. Okay.
I think Harbaugh, I honestly think there's a good chance Harbaugh ends up back at Michigan because he's done this
Okay.
for a few years where
All right.
he just used it for leverage. Vrabel, I guess, I'll say Vrabel to the Chargers, Belichick to the Falcons.
Let me ask you a question quick. What color is the guy from Sanford, the head coach?
Yeah, they got to,
Hold on. I'm going to make the point.
Yeah.
Good. What color is he?
Black.
Okay, you have
Oh,
to
so you're
interview one.
that
You
new
have to
fucking rule.
interview
That's what you're. I just heard
the
about
Rooney
that
rule.
today.
The
You-
Rooney
Is that
rule
a
is in
real
effect. Hold
fucking
on.
thing?
Hold on a second.
Is that like
the
a
Rooney
real
rule,
rule, or is that just like?
the Rooney.
No, it's a rule.
Wait a second. Not only is it in effect, Chris, they said you better do it this year at
Yeah.
the winter meetings, or you're in a lot of fucking trouble. It's tampering charges,
How
same
could
as
you-
tampering
how
charges.
could you're a private owner. How could you have somebody demand how you fucking
Yeah.
run your team?
So you know
Rooney
what?
rule, yeah.
The guy from Sanford got a nice $25,000
I thought
in
so,
expenses for the week. That's exactly what he got. 25 grand for the week. I wasn't even going to mention it because I didn't think you guys were going to go there. But that's the Rooney rule. You have to
I
interview a
forgot
black
about
coach.
it until you mentioned it, and then it hit me again. That's so
All right.
ridiculous.
I'm going to
You
give
have
you
to
my
do it.
3. I'm going
Go
to give
ahead.
you my 3. Then, Tone, you're going to break down the AFC matchups.
Go ahead.
My 3. Vrabel. Seattle. Harbaugh. Chargers. Belichick. Falcons. AFC, Tony, what do you got? Give us the
But I just
matchups.
want to talk about this rule for 1 second because
Go ahead.
Chris, yeah, you do. I'm looking at it right now. NFL teams must interview a black candidate for head coaching in the league before a hired position is made.
How
That is
bad
the-
is that?
Well, I got news for you. It's horrible because black, white, or green, if you got a guy who's hot out there and this team was smart enough to bring a black guy in on day one, and I'm not being racist here, I'm being
It's
absolutely
not
legit.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous, is what it is. So you're going to tell me, okay, it's more racist for the league to say, well, you got to go interview, but we'll give you 25 grand and the whole week of expenses on top of the 25 grand. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's well, in a lot of, I mean, it just shows how woke everything goes. You know, Martin Luther King would be against this shit. Martin Luther
Absolutely.
King wanted equality, where
I
skin
think it's
color is not
ridiculous.
supposed to matter.
I think it's
Okay,
I think
but
it's
do you guys
embarrassing
not
to even
see?
say that.
Do you guys not see what's going on here? That
No,
guy,
you're right. I just it slipped my mind at first
No,
because
You got a lot of sham
I'm-
interviews.
I'm
A lot
going
of
to give you
interviews are
one. I'm
bullshit.
going to give you one better. Harbaugh picked as his successor at Stanford, whatever you call it,
yeah, Sharon Moore.
the guy who went to go interview.
Yeah,
So there's your reason why Harbaugh will be the next head coach.
yeah.
I forgot about it. I actually
You know,
forgot about it.
if we remember, Bill Belichick is the one that called Brian Flores by mistake, and he thought he was talking to Brian Dable, congratulating him on the job. Remember, and that's how the whole lawsuit came about.
Correct.
Oh, that's ridiculous. Well, I just gonna Brian Flores. He was the black coach for the Dolphins, right?
Yep.
Was that the guy for the
Yeah.
Dolphins?
And he got fired after a
he's
year.
suing the NFL. He thinks the owner of the Dolphins was purposely making them throw games.
Yeah,
to
he
get
was
a
saying
higher
throwing
draft pick.
games.
But
You know,
here's the thing:
there was
even
some.
if that's true, it has nothing to do with skin color.
Well, let me say this, Chris. Let me say this, and then you guys go on it because Bucky's absolutely right. Let me give the point. You break it down. Tomlin got that job because when they were forced to bring Tomlin in for the interview, the guy they wanted at that time had
Russ
already
Grimm.
signed and said, "The hell with you." Go ahead, guys.
Go ahead.
That's
let's
why
do-
Tomlin. That's why Tomlin got the job because of the Rooney
Listen,
Rule.
you know me. I'm a maniac Steelers fan. No doubt, Russ Grimm
Let me ask
was,
you
was
guys
the
a
favorite.
question.
So was Ken Wisenhunt, if everybody
So let me
remembers.
ask you guys a question. Who was the defensive coordinator Tomlin's very first year with Pittsburgh?
I believe Dick LeBeau was with him for a year or two.
Okay, LeBeau said the only team I will coach, and for 2 years, and that's coming off of Bill Cowher, are the Steelers. They couldn't interview him first, so he said, "Fuck you," is exactly what he said. Because Tomlin walked in there, he said, "If you didn't even offer me anything, and you followed a rule that strict, and it was Rooney who did it, I don't need to be here." And he went to Tennessee. Look it up.
Let's go, AFC, baby. Tony, break it down. Lay it out for us.
All right,
Crazy.
guys, man. You got the Texans and Ravens. You got the Ravens favored by 9.5, and the under and over is 43.5. Now, I want to say one thing before we get to this. Craig, I gave you all my picks last week beforehand. I had every straight and
He's
every
been on
Tuesday.
fire.
So, Chris, you guys go, and I'll break it down last. I got the Texans and the Ravens. Ravens are favored by 9.5. Under over 43.5. Chris, you go first.
Their Texans are really good. 9.5 is a lot of points. I believe in CJ Stroud. I think CJ Stroud is a stud. I think he's going to be one of the best quarterbacks in this league for a long time. And I think taking the Texans with the 9.5. I think they cover.
All right, who do you think wins the game? Who do you take in the money line if you had to do that?
I got to go Ravens there. They're too good this year, but I do think the Texans cover.
Craig, you up. I'll go next.
Yeah, I would love to sit here and say I love the Texans in this game. I do think it doesn't matter. I
Money
want to
line.
say that John Harbaugh fucked up again by giving these guys 2 weeks off, and it's going to bite them in the ass again. But it's going to be hard to pick against the Ravens. I got to go with the Ravens.
All right, Chris, before last week, I told you CJ Stroud was playing with house money. He's got nothing to lose. You remember that?
Yes, sir.
I'm going to change this up right now. I'm going to go with the Texans
All right.
because only for 2 reasons. Lamar Jackson still hasn't proven anything to me besides regular season, and I still think Stroud's got one more game in him. So I don't need the 9. I'll take the 9.5 in that bet, but I think the Texans are going to win outright.
Who in the chat? Tell us who you like. Texans,
Shoot.
Ravens.
Let me see what you guys got.
Who you got?
Over.
Let us know. So we're all
BX,
clear. So Tony, you're the only one that went with the Texans, me and Chris Ravens, right?
yes. BX said over but Ravens won't cover. I don't think the Ravens will cover either way, but I'm just taking the Texans on a hunch this week. Right as of right now, I need to see the injury report on tomorrow at 6:00. Actually,
I'll tell
Cinnamon
you.
Gal going with me, Texans. Telling
All
you
right,
this
what's the other
CJ
AFC
Stroud.
game?
CJ Stroud is no joke, man.
He's
a
good.
good quarterback.
He's
He's
got
Oh
a-
no,
some
he's
of
a
the
star.
best
I think
arm
he's gonna be a
talent I've
star,
seen,
no doubt.
man. His arm.
All right, let's stay with the Saturday game first. We got the Packers and 49ers, and the 49ers are favored by 9.5. And the under and over is 50.5. 50.5. Go ahead, Chris.
I was gonna lean Packers with the points because Jordan Love's really playing well, but I think the Niners at full strength are too tough. I'm looking at the Packers' recent wins. I mean, they obviously just kicked the crap out of the Cowboys, but then I mean they won 3 straight, but it's against Carolina, Vikings, Bears. They lost by 14 to the Bucks. They lost to the Giants. Kicked the crap out. I'm going to go Niners. Niners fully healthy. They're too tough. I'm going to take them to cover.
Sounds good. Chris, Craig, you go, buddy. Craig, you
Oh
there?
boy, I want to pull the trigger. I always like to pull one. I'm gonna go Packers in an upset. Shock them. I'm going Packers.
All right. I'm definitely taking the Packers plus 9.5. All right. I'm going to tease the game around. I don't think the 49ers win by much, but I don't think they cover either way. I'm going to take the Packers both ways, and I'll take the 49ers to win. Beck
Let me just
Brooklyn, what's
shout-
up, my brother?
Beck
That's my
Brooklyn, what's
main
happening,
man.
bud? Thanks for popping on, man. Thank you. Just picking some games here. All right,
Beck
so
is
we're
my
clear.
main man.
Beck,
I'm
I love
going-
his videos, man. I love him. I love his
Agree.
videos. Laugh my ass off.
All right, let's go right into early game on Sunday, which is absolutely ridiculous that they made that game the afternoon game and the Bills and the Chiefs the night game in freezing Buffalo. I don't know how you do that.
Let me just ask the chat. Guys, girls, Cinnamon, everybody out there, who you guys like? 49ers, Packers, let us know. Go ahead, T.
All right, man, we got the Buccaneers and Lions, and we're going to talk about all the games for a few minutes after this. Buccaneers at Lions. Lions are only favored by 6.5. Seeing the way they won the other day, seeing the way the Buccaneers won against, to me, a beat-up, dysfunctional Eagle team.
Maddie.
Chris, I'm going to lay it on the line. You go first. Buccaneers are getting
I love the
6.5.
Lions here. This is my favorite bet of all of them. I'm going Lions to cover. I would like if I bet, I'm dropping it to half point. I'm taking the Lions, giving 6. Lions to cover. Lions to win. Lions got a really good team, man. They're playing lights out, and I just like you said, the Bucs beat an Eagle team that was dysfunctional and not that great. So I'm going Lions.
All right, Craig, you shoot. So you're taking them and you're buying a half point down to make it 6?
Yeah, I don't like losing by a half point. So yeah,
I don't like
Mikey
that either.
F. Lions, Tony, you know how I feel. Detroit.
All right. It's going to be a lot closer than you think. I'm going to buy a whole point, and I'm going to bring it down to 5.5 because I think it could be a 2 field goal game. I'll take the Lions minus 5.5. I think it could be down to 2 field goals because with all the game the other day, if you looked at that game and you didn't look at the scoreboard, you would have thought the Lions were beating the Rams by more.
yeah.
You know, did you get that feeling, Chris?
What's that?
Did you get that
I
feeling?
you know what? I did. I took the line. I go crazy betting because I will bet before the game and then I'll do like 2-3 live bets
Right,
during the
Slim.
game.
I just got a funny feeling that the Buccaneers are a lot better and are gelling at the right time right now.
Well, they're playing with house money this week, kind of, you know?
Well, not for nothing. Baker Mayfield is playing with house money for the rest of his career because he blew it as the number 1 pick. No, it's the truth. He was supposed to be the next coming in Cleveland. I mean, the Jets were looking to fight to get him. Other teams were looking to get him. He was drafted in front of Tua, okay? So I don't know if they can win by 6.5. I don't like 6.5.
He's got good receivers. He's got it rolling. He's a
Well, he's
good
got
quarterback.
on any given day, Mike Evans can compete with the best wide receiver in football. any day.
Especially.
Goodwin, best second
Godwin,
wide
yeah.
receiver in the
Penn
league.
State, baby.
That's
So-
right.
Yes, we are.
You guys, the way we're breaking this down, I mean, I want to see if the Lions' injuries were as bad as they are by tomorrow, but I'll still take the Lions to win, but no way are they covering.
I love the
6.5.
Lions. What we got in that next NFC game? Who's the matchup?
I love the Lions too because they got such a great running game. I think Gibbs and Montgomery are such a great 1-2 punch. They got a better run game. But
All right,
go
we'll
ahead.
go over this. Let's pick the next game, then we'll go over what we think could happen in certain games. All right, the last game of the weekend is the Chiefs and the Bills, AFC. The Bills are favored by 2. It started at 2.5. Go ahead, Chris.
2.5. Okay, Bills are favored by 2.5. Man, this is fucking.
No,
you
it
know,
went down
Bills
to
and
2.
Chiefs
It
games
went
like
down
this
to
are so
2.
fucking hard because you don't know what the hell Josh Allen's going to do. Is he going to
Wait a
go
minute.
off?
The line went from 2.5 to 2 today.
Tell them why, Tone. There was a move in
Yeah,
that game, right? They changed the time.
Well, they changed the times. Kansas City plays in just as cold as weather as Buffalo.
Right.
And the other thing is, I hate to say it, I got the paper in my hand right now. I'm looking at it. Kansas City itself, the team, has purchased 25,000 seats off of eBay, Ticket.com, and what is it? Game Time to sell within the city. That could be big, man.
So how is it supposed to be a snowstorm again or just cold?
I believe it's supposed to snow tomorrow there too, yeah. I mean, look, I think it's snowing definitely tomorrow. I don't know about Saturday. I think snow maybe 2 days. Hold on. Good, you guys talk. I'll get the weather.
They're playing Sunday, the Bills?
Chris, I'll make this easy. I'm gonna go with the Bills to pull it all. Oh, they're banged up. I'm still gonna go with the Bills at home to beat Kansas City.
All right,
And
let me
finally
give you
get them
this,
out of
guys,
the
quick.
playoffs.
It's going to be 22 tomorrow when the Chiefs get there, 17 on Saturday, and you got 26 on Sunday. So think about it. It's not going to be as cold for either team as it was last week.
That's it, Cinnamon Girl. It never stops snowing, she said.
I'm gonna go Chiefs because the Bills, I don't know. Josh
Okay.
Allen, he always seems when the money's on the line, something happens. I'm gonna go
Chiefs.
Chiefs. I don't feel comfortable with this game. This is the hardest one to pick, I think.
Yeah,
But I'm
tough
gonna
game.
go Chiefs just because. Well, but I will say I looked at player props. One bet I love, and I don't give a fuck about the weather because last week proved that they still throw the ball a lot. I got Josh Allen over 227 yards straight up bet.
Got you.
That's not a lot of yards, man, for him.
What do you
All
like,
right.
Tom?
I'm definitely going to agree with BX. The Bills tight ends off for real because I said Kincaid was going to be
You
the
got
deal.
Kincaid and Knox, right?
Yes, but I'm going
Yeah.
with the Kansas City Chiefs to win outright.
Okay.
I just think that Kansas City and Buffalo is not the team to represent the Super Bowl, but I think the Chiefs have a little bit more stability than the Bills do. I don't like the coaching in Buffalo.
And you don't know, like Josh Allen, he's so bipolar. If he doesn't throw any interceptions, if Josh Allen throws no interceptions, I would say Bills, but you don't know what he's going to do. I mean, obviously, that's a stupid thing to say. Obviously, a guy throws an interception. But he could force the ball and throw 2-3 interceptions in a game.
Well, Chris, I'll break it down for you. Let's start breaking it down with this game before we go backwards. How about if the Steelers had a little bit more stability, the Steelers could have been in that game even closer the other day than when they gave up a few points at the end to get spread apart. It was only a one score game going
they
into
came
half,
back.
wasn't
Yeah,
it?
they hung there. No, I
All
agree. There's always something lacking with Buffalo. They're
Agreed.
a good team. They get on fire, but there's just something that they just come up short too many times.
I just don't. Josh Allen hasn't showed me anything to represent his team in a championship game yet. Again, whatever. I don't like it. I mean, and at some point, these Cook brothers always find a way out of a big game. I don't think Cook is going to be a bigger factor in this game as he was last week. Kansas City's definitely got a better defense on the front
Fast.
line. They're fast.
Yeah, that's
Pittsburgh,
yeah.
and you know what? Think about this. Pittsburgh didn't have
No linebackers. Everybody's hurt.
Yeah, what about the lineman that was missing for Pittsburgh?
Yeah.
What's his
TJ Watt,
name?
right there.
TJ
No,
Watt.
no, it is what it is.
You know, so the Chiefs
think-
are coming in here with a healthy
yeah.
defense.
I mean, I picked Buffalo already, but I think Kansas City, they're fast enough. They can spy Josh Allen like you should. Pittsburgh didn't. Let them get them big chunk yards. Kansas City's going to pressure like crazy. That's what Spagnuolo does. We'll see. I went with Buffalo already, but when you start to really look at the matchups, Kansas City matches up well with them speed-wise.
Let me ask you guys a question. BX is saying after the 9/11 controversy, I'm down in Florida, guys. Somebody fill me in on that. I didn't see it.
The Bills are rallying around it.
He says the Bills
Sean
are really
McDermott.
rallying around their coach after the 9/11 controversy.
I'd love to know
Somebody
about
had-
it too, yeah, because I'm somebody that worked in Ground Zero, so let me in on it, please.
Yeah, I'm
BX,
not sure what that is.
BX, can you type it in? Because
Yeah,
I'm a little lost on this one.
Chris, you have that? Let me see if I can get to it. Hold on. I don't want to lose you guys here.
Hold on, I'll
a
do
sec.
it. I'll do it. You stay
I-
in the chat.
No, I got it.
I'll Google it. Go ahead.
Whoa, it's like a controversy with yeah,
I don't
BX.
know.
We don't want you to type this in. We'll pull this up real quick for you. We'll find out what's going on here. Sean McDermott.
I'm actually a little lost, and if that's something, maybe that's
It
something.
says
to add
Sean
to it.
McDermott had some insensitive remark regarding 9/11.
Is that what they were talking about the other day? I don't know about it. though.
Maybe they were
I
anti-government
just
remarks.
pulled up a link. Buffalo Bills coach Sean McDermott has been faced with his fair share of criticism this season and now has more questions to answer after a revelation that he used a horribly insensitive 9/11 reference in a team pep talk.
Oh,
I don't
I'm
know
going with
exactly what he said,
It
but
sounds
All right.
whatever, bro. Bulletin board material, whatever. It sounds like somebody was insensitive. Who knows what he said? Look, we all lost people. I'm sure he didn't mean what he said. I'm not going to bat it for him. I don't know what he said. Whatever.
you know
I
what it
get
is,
though.
Craig?
You
A
know.
lot of people who weren't in New York don't understand the full extent of what we lost.
Yeah, no. Without a doubt. No, I get it. Hey, listen. We all lost. I don't even want to go there, but
Yeah, Bucky just made a great point too, man. Josh Allen went for a 52-yard
yeah,
run.
four
and
missed
the
tackles,
Steelers
no
missed
spying
catches.
them. Believe me, I threw a
They
few
could've-
things.
they could've
Yeah,
tackled
you're right, Buck.
Bucky,
You're
great
definitely right,
point.
Buck.
I'm telling you, and this team is no way get prepared like the Steelers were. This team is prepared right every week, Kansas City.
Oh, wait a minute. BX is saying this. Look.
He
Did
mentioned
he
how
say anything
terrorists.
wrong?
I got it. He mentioned
Oh,
how terrorists
wow.
in 9/11.
so what he was saying from reading it on, like
We gotta
he-
we gotta be like terrorists.
He was like what Sean McDermott was trying to tell his team is you have to be better communicating, and somehow reference 9/11 how they communicated.
Yeah.
That's fucked up. But that's
Yeah, he wishes he took that back. I'm sure.
yeah. I mean, clearly the guy didn't mean it, but
Yeah,
harmed
listen.
by it. But
Football coaches, you get creative. Sometimes you'll
hey,
draw from
that was creative. That was creative.
You know what? I got to be honest with you. Obviously, Andy Reid is a better coach.
Rest in
than
peace.
McDermott. Obviously, Andy Reid knows how to handle the pressure leading up to this game better than McDermott. Something that we're blowing up might play very heavy on Sean McDermott.
Absolutely.
He is not a seasoned guy with media. Even last year with that injury to Hamill there, when he went into cardiac arrest, he was a coach that was lost for a couple of days. And he did well under the circumstances. I'm not going to take that away from him. But
if anybody sees any of our early videos, it's a picture of me and my brother Joey working 9/11. That's Building 7 collapsed behind us. So we all, Tony, we lost
I know
about 6 guys
everything.
from the neighborhood.
how many
down there
guys
that
got
night,
sick?
Man,
We
many
all
guys-
we all have a story. So bad. Matty Mad Dog Sweeney's in the house. He's gonna go nuts here because he's glued into he's a city guy, and 9/11 he lived it like all of us, and so some people are gonna, like you said, it's gonna maybe there's somebody in that other locker room. It's gonna draw some ire. Maybe
Well, here's the
wasn't
problem.
brightest thing.
Buffalo is considered part of New York, even though we don't always look at it that
Absolutely,
way.
they're the only New York team. If you ask me, I'm one of them idiots that say it.
It's true, downright, but
Let them
not
stay
really.
in Jersey. They can have them.
But here's the Well, that's because you're a Steeler fan, born and raised that way.
Let them
But
fucking have them.
people who are Jet and Giant fans don't feel the same way.
No,
But
I know. But it
I gotta
pisses
be
me off
honest
though that
with
they're
you.
there.
I would like to see the press conference tomorrow afternoon. They have it the Friday before every championship game. The two teams playing Saturday had it today. Let's see how McDermott looks. I
Yeah,
mean, he's a coach who's got enough problems. They were looking to fire him during the middle of the season this year.
Yeah,
for the way
it's
they
just
started.
something you don't. Listen, I bet you. I'm sure he wishes he could take it back, but he said it. Now you live with it.
There's certain things you can't say, and one
Well-
comment you can't make or evaluate or compare to is 9/11.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
You're in a no-win situation.
Yeah, that's for sure. Did I ask you guys that the trivia? I saw this one trivia about the NFL wide receiver with this one record. Did I ever ask you guys this? You probably know the answer. Okay, so I saw this like 2 years ago. Only NFL receiver in the history of the league who came in his rookie year, had 1,000 yards his rookie year, and had 1,000 yards every year since. And the record was 7 years. And the guy broke the record at 7 years, and he's still going. So that probably gives it away. But this is an incredible record that I don't think will ever be broken, maybe.
Go ahead, Craig. 7 years?
Only because you just said his name, so it's fresh in my head. He's been playing in the league around. I'm just throwing this out. Mike Evans.
Yeah.
Mike
I don't
Evans.
know who held the record. I heard this question.
Say, Sean, I listen.
No, I knew it because I have it in front of me.
I guess there's a total guess, but I got what? Hey, I just
That's
figured
a crazy
7 years he's been playing, and he always produces.
Listen,
All right.
if you go back the past 2-3 years and you say name the top 3 NFL receivers today, or the top, people don't even think of him anymore because he just gets 1,000 yards. You know what I mean? That guy's the most consistent receiver I've ever seen.
Well, that's like that running back that was out in San Diego with the Chargers. Nobody really realized what his stats were. I can't even think of what the hell's his name?
Austin
That kid that played
Eckler?
him. Yes.
Yeah, I didn't even know about him in for a little while, but.
And look at the yardage and touchdowns he was putting up. He was breaking LaDainian and Tomlinson's records.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
That's
all right. I'll give you a better question.
Back. You can catch the ball, yeah.
Whose record did Evans break?
I didn't see that. I don't know who it was. I don't think it was Jerry Rice, but that's an incredible record. I mean, he's still going strong with it. He did it at 7 years. I mean, this is his 9th straight year from his rookie year having 1,000 yards, man.
I gotta find a question. Somebody asked us trivia before, Tony. I'm gonna find it. Something about who's the only quarterback, who's the only head coach. I'm gonna find it. Go through the comments. It was a little earlier. I think it came from either BX or Baywatch. I think BX asked the trivia on it. BX, if you're still out there, what was that trivia? It was about who's the only head coach. I think. All right, here it is.
What is it?
Who's the last head coach who won multiple Super Bowls with different quarterbacks?
Last head coach to win multiple Super Bowls with different quarterbacks. Wasn't him. Multiple.
Andy Reid? No.
Andy Reid's one with only. Andy Reid's only one with Mahomes.
Yeah, well, one. Yeah.
Belichick is only one with.
All these guys bouncing around.
Good. That's a good one. That's a good one.
Who's the only coach?
Is it a current guy or somebody from the past? Or doesn't it say, I guess?
We sometimes make strong analogies.
I'm going to pull it again.
Who's the only coach to win Super Bowls with multiple quarterbacks?
Multiple quarterbacks.
Tomlin's only one more.
Here it is again. From BX.
The only coach
I'm going to get the answer right now.
Different quarterbacks. Oh, I'm thinking different teams. Let me think here.
I'm going to cheat. I know BX could give us the answer, make it easy.
Was he the head coach or a coach? Because
he says head coach.
Head coach, all right.
Wasn't Dungy, right?
Dungy's not a current head coach.
Oh, all right. I'm sorry. I didn't know.
Is
I
it
didn't know
current
sorry.
or is it current or non-current?
It only
Well,
says the
that's why I
last
asked.
head coach to do it.
So it could be anybody, either
Yeah, a
or.
lot of guys. Bill Parcells won with 2 quarterbacks.
Hostetler and Sims, right?
The guy from the Raiders won with Andy. What's his name? The guy who coached Gibbs. He won with different quarterbacks.
Ripien and right, yeah. Doug
What
Williams.
about Doug Williams?
Yeah.
So
He won with-
BX,
he won
are
with
you
Dyson.
saying?
I'm thinking it could be Parcells or Gibbs, maybe. Well, I'm going to look it up right now.
I'd have to say Gibbs. I know he won with Theismann. I know he won
Davey
with
T, what do you
Williams,
think?
and I know he won with Ripon.
BX Jackson didn't win one. Well, now he's saying I just brought it up because it may be hard. Oh, he says he doesn't know. Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Harbaugh won with only.
Well, there was. So you don't know an
Wait a
answer for
minute. Did Harbaugh win with 2 quarters? No, 1, right? No, 2. He won with the guy that stunk. Was he? He wasn't the coach. Harbaugh won with Flacco. He wasn't there the one before that. When who's the guy who quarterbacked the Ravens to their first Super Bowl? Dilfer?
Billick. Brian Billick.
Right, Brian Billick had Dilfer, so no, it wouldn't be them.
Here's a
Joe Gibbs, I got it.
I said Gibbs first.
Gibbs is the only
Gibbs.
coach to have won 3
Three.
Super Bowls with 3 different
I
quarterbacks.
Yeah,
Theismann,
Joe
Williams,
Theismann.
and Ripien.
I said that. All right, I thought I was just trying to think it out. Yeah,
Yeah,
Gibbs was the
right
only
there.
guy I could have thought of.
So, BX, you came up with a good one, and it actually wound up being 3. Joe Gibbs has done it with 3 different quarterbacks,
Yeah.
and it gives
So-
the years.
Tony, I found the receiver that Mike Evans, whose record he broke. He's a retired guy from the 90s. I'll put it that way. NFC guy. Up
A guy
north.
from the 90s up north. Is it the guy from Green Bay?
Nah. Nope.
Chris Carter?
Close.
Randy Moss? Randy Moss.
Randy Moss had 7 straight seasons. 1,000 yards.
Did he?
And
Yeah, Randy Moss?
Yeah, I
And
looked it up.
I think Randy Moss has the most touchdowns in a season. And am I right or am I wrong on that one?
Well, yeah, probably with the Patriots that one year when Brady
The one
went
year
out.
with Brady? Yeah, that
Has
was
to be.
something. Let me tell you something. They were 1 game away from what?
Perfect.
17, 18, 19, 20 and 0.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. This is
And-
fun.
And you know what I loved about that game? The last game of the year, the Giants played the Patriots at the Meadowlands. Remember that?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
That
I-
was the most. Now you got to remember, the Giants had to fight their way to get in the playoffs. The Patriots had it locked up, and that son of a bitch went out there to win that game, and he gave away a lot of his playbook. The Giants' defensive coordinator said, and I was like, I think he's full of crap. Let me tell you something. They did a hell of a job shutting them down that day.
They contained them. They did a very good job. Very good job.
Do you-
Yeah,
so let me
defense.
ask you a question, Chris. Do you think he gave away too much trying to stay undefeated?
I don't know. I'd have to go back and look. I really don't know. I just know they kicked the living crap out of teams. It was aired out to Moss. I don't know. I don't know how in-depth it was.
That was a high scoring. It was a
Yeah.
Sunday night. It was a Sunday night game. It was some game, man. I still remember that game.
Yeah, that was the best offense ever as far as points because they beat the Vikings, right?
Right.
Remember the Vikings with Moss and Cunningham that one year?
Moss, Carter, and what the hell was the quarterback's name? Dante Culpepper?
Culpepper.
No.
Randall?
No. I'm talking about the year when Brad Johnson got injured first game. Randall Cunningham came in. I think it was Randy Moss's rookie year. And that's the year they had the best offense ever at the time. Most
Chris
points
Carter
scored.
was there.
Oh yeah, you're right.
And they
You're right.
lost to the Falcons in the NFC championship.
Oh, they missed the field goal. Yep, they missed the field goal kick. Dennis
Yeah.
Green was the head coach, I think.
Yes.
I mean,
yeah.
that's
Robert
like-
Smith was running back. Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, that's like you talk about the Patriots and the Super Bowl if they won. Let's be realistic. 9 times out of 10, the Falcons should have won that game.
28-3, right? Going into the fourth or mid-third?
Yes. And how about
Wow.
the game against Seattle? You're gonna pass the ball
Oh,
with
my God.
Marshawn Lynch in the
That's the one where
background?
Marvin Lynch wanted to friggin' kill Pete Carroll
Yeah.
or Sherman or whatever.
Correct.
My youngest is a Seahawk fan. I mean, he's a man now, but he would
All right,
forget it.
so realistically, okay, the Rams were favored everywhere to beat the Patriots. The first one that they won,
Yeah.
they pulled that one out. All right, that was a low scoring
Well,
game.
Yeah. Is that with
They
Kurt
should-
Warner?
Yes,
Yeah.
Kurt Warner's. They won the Super Bowl the year prior.
Yep.
Then you got the game against Atlanta. Was that before Seattle? I think that was the year before, right?
I think after Seattle, no?
I'm not sure, but
Yeah. Either way,
The
that's
low
like
scoring
3.
one with the Patriots, that wasn't the Kurt Warner one. Wasn't that the later one?
With Sean McVay, it was like 12-3, right?
Yeah, that wasn't Kurt Warner. Yeah.
no.
Warner
Kurt Warner lost to the Patriots right after he won the Super Bowl with the Rams. The next year they lost. Greatest
Yeah.
show on turf.
Greatest show, yeah.
No,
Was,
it's just another Super Bowl. I think he meant.
Did
But-
Vinatieri kick a field goal to beat them, I think, in that Super Bowl or beat the Rams?
Yeah,
I could
the
be wrong.
first one, Vinatieri kicked the game winner.
Yeah, I mean, I was watching something the other day. They start showing these Super Bowl shows. If the Rams don't, and the Rams weren't known for defense at that time. All right.
No.
Do you realize the Titans were a yard away from going in and
Yeah, they
beating the Rams
drafted
there
the
too?
guy a yard short on a slant.
I mean,
Yeah.
so many Super Bowls
Jeff
can
Fisher.
change. So many Super Bowls can change. The biggest one to me was they actually had the film crew into getting Boomer Esiason ready against the 49ers. All right. And Montana just very lethargically drove down the field, and Boomer's getting ready to say he went to Disneyland, and it never happened.
Yeah,
I remember that.
Joe Montana saw John Candy.
It's true.
Yeah,
mean,
that's
Boomer Esiason said, he goes, we celebrated way too early, and we were never ready for what was coming.
yeah. They,
Yeah,
I
I-
never- But
Go
nobody
ahead.
really realizes how good the Bengals were back then. A couple of them seasons, the Bengals were one of the best teams in football for 2-3 years in a row with Boomer, and I don't like Boomer. But they had them beat.
No, they ran that Sam White's. They ran that. They were effective. They ran that West Coast. They look what a minute. What was it, a minute 40?
the Icky
And
Shuffle.
Montana went down the field. They had,
Yeah,
hang on.
And
Defense
Lou
couldn't get off
Belch,
the
remember
field.
Lou Belch coming out like this?
yeah. I mean, but when he told the story during
Yeah.
this documentary, he goes, they were on the sidelines telling me the lines and how to say it. He
God,
goes,
that's
and when I
crazy.
turned around, I seen the Niners at the 2-yard line running in, and I was like, "Oh shit, I don't remember that. I was, I was young still."
Yeah, Super Bowl shuffle, Icky Woods right there.
Icky
from Boston.
Woods. I'll tell you, man. We should have honestly the way getting back to the games, the way the games lay out this week. The Bills and Chiefs. I'm really thinking that that's
Well, let
going to
me
be a
ask you
good
a
matchup.
question.
I think
Let
we
me
got
ask-
some good matchups across the board. We got
All right,
some
let
good
me-
games, and we could have some upsets.
Let me ask you both like this: tell me a reason why the Bills will beat the Chiefs.
Yeah. If I'm going to make
Craig,
a
you go
case for
first.
them, I'll say why they'll beat the Chiefs.
Mhm.
Spagnolo blitzes too much. They'll get caught in cover 0 a couple times, and they'll get beat on a couple of big plays because they're all out blitzing.
All
That's
right.
why.
But what do they
I
have?
would say I
What
would
do
say
Oh
they
no,
have?
I'm just saying that's
Josh
that's how
Allen
they
doesn't
beat
turn the ball over. If Josh Allen doesn't turn the ball over, and maybe their defense forces a turnover or two,
All right, let's
I mean, they're
break it down
very
like this. All right, let's break it down like this. Who's the better quarterback, Mahomes or Allen?
Oh, here we go. I love it.
Mahomes.
Mahomes. I agree,
Mahomes.
Mahomes. Craig, what do you got?
Mahomes.
Okay, who's the better tight end, Kelsey or Kincaid or Knox?
Well, are you going total, like the 2 versus the 1?
Individual or team?
Well, I'm going to get to that because they're not playing as big at wide receiver to build. So
I'll tell you,
who
I've
are
been
you gonna
seeing
give-
Kelsey drop some passes this year, but I'll have to say Kelsey.
Yeah, Kelsey.
All right, Kelsey. Okay, who's got the better running back? This will
That's
shock
fine.
the shit out of both of you.
I
Yeah,
was going to say, combination, you got to go Kansas City.
and I'm not going to count Josh Allen's rushing or Mahomes.
I'm going to go
rushing.
Kansas City has a better tandem.
James Cook had a good year this year.
Kansas City has 487 yards more rushing than Buffalo. Who's got the better wide receivers?
I don't.
I'm going to say Buffalo.
I mean, I like that Rice, but there's nobody else reliable on Kansas City.
I'm thinking Gabe Davis and Diggs. I don't know.
Exactly.
I'm going to say Buffalo. I don't know what the numbers say.
I'm going to say because Diggs is that much of a standout, Buffalo don't have a second that close, even or Kansas City. So now we just named quarterback, running back, tight end, wide receivers, 4 spots, and we're thinking about one, and we've gave Kansas City everything else.
And they got the better coaching.
Without a doubt, the coaching is so. Out of 5, we're thinking the wide receivers over, but 4 positions we all agreed on 1, 2, 3.
Tony, how many times have you tried? I mean, in general, we all do it. Try to apply logic to placing a bet, and it just backfires.
Well, I'll tell you why I'll go with logic here. I think Andy Reid is that much more of a better coach than McDermott.
Sean McDermott, yeah.
I think McDermott just hasn't proven enough to me as a coach. I mean, he had opportunities, 2 years in a row now to come up with game plans, and he came up with nothing.
That's true. That's true.
Okay, they only walked into first place last year because of the Hamlin injury. Let's be realistic. That could have been a coin flip.
He's just doing a breakdown, Bob, of different positions. Thank you for sharing, though.
All right, and then what about this year? If Miami don't shit in the fucking farm there, Buffalo shouldn't even came near first place.
No, Buffalo didn't have a great year, in I mean, even though record-wise, but they struggled, and Josh Allen struggled. Midway through the year, he's having some down games. It's Buffalo to me is a very bipolar team. They're bipolar. They could catch fire, score in bunches.
I agree, BS.
Or they could shit the bed. Like, there's not a lot of consistency with them. They're hard to pick. You don't always know what you're going to get from them.
All right, so he's got something here. BX is coming up with a good point here. But the Bills' front is very good. There's still a chance.
Yeah.
I agree with that 100%. Here's my problem. You got 2 guys that are nicked up. Are they all going to be 100%? I was going to get to
one
the
kid broke
defense.
his leg.
So you got to look at the injuries. The first round, you know what you could basically pick. Now you're playing teams that are supposed to be spot on even with each other. And the line being 2 tells you they're not even telling you Buffalo could win. And odds makers are better than coaches at predicting games. All right? They don't even have them winning by a full field goal. They got them winning by 2 points, and it's going to go down.
Yeah,
it'll go to 1.5, 1.
It's. I mean,
to me, that's the closest.
You're convincing me, Tony. You're convincing me.
Well, what I'm trying to say is I leave this all coach against coach. I think the players can pretty much wash each other out, and it's going to come down to a quarterback. And Bob just said something all right here that I was going to get to.
Oh, boy, Bob, you're right on there. Go ahead.
It's all about flags and turnovers. I'm going to tell you something right now. I don't care what anybody says. The NFL must talk to referees because I've seen nobody get more flags except for one game this year, and he cried like a bitch, than Mahomes and Andy Reid.
There's been more flags this year than ever any, it seems.
Well, I'll just say this about the flags. If you're only going to call flags, I'll say this right now. If you're not going to call any holding penalties on Kansas City before the game even starts, Buffalo don't have a shot. We got to even out the flags. If you look at the game, not take my fandom, I didn't have money on the game. You look at that game of Buffalo-Pittsburgh, it had to be 12-1. I don't know what the numbers were in penalties. Everything on Pittsburgh.
Well, I could say this much, and I see it on
they got to
ESPN,
even out.
But I've seen it on ESPN sports shows this year. I've seen
Great
it on
point,
Fox
Bob.
Sports Show. I've seen it on NFL Network, and I've seen it on regular news. Kansas City had so many flags going into the Buffalo game, it would have looked fixed if they let Kansas City come back and beat Buffalo there. And let's not forget that game. Take away that stupid botched up play that will not happen again. I guarantee you that. Kansas City beats Buffalo there too.
Cinnamon Girl's got
Who's
something to say
your
here.
favorite team? Like, Craig, you're a Steeler fan. Do you have a favorite team? A New York
I like
team?
I like the Jets.
I'm a Steeler fan.
God bless you.
I'm a Jet fan. I've always been, and I like the Dolphins when I'm down here. But if I had to go and say my favorite team, yeah, I'm a Jet fan. But
I heard, listening to the Skinny, the Joey Merlino show, they're saying that watching a game at the Hard Rock Cafe is like the best venue compared to other stadiums.
Without a doubt. It's like a party
Agreed,
atmosphere.
Dave.
The weather's nice, man.
I've never been to Miami, man. I always wanted to go.
Well, first of all, it's not in Miami. All right, so don't get fooled there. It's on the very, very south end of Fort Lauderdale. All right, and it's right off the highway. But the way they fixed that stadium up and they made it covered that if it rains, you don't get caught in the rain on the top 2 levels.
Yeah, I heard. Yeah.
I mean, between the waitresses, the music, they got real DJs from the Miami nightclubs there. It's out of this world.
Party.
It's actually a party. You know what it compares to? It's almost like every game is a Super Bowl.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Oh, Chris, calm down. We'll go to a game. It's
I'd
unbelievable.
next year, man, you can count me in, definitely.
I'll
I'm
tell
looking
you.
to go out to USC because Penn State's playing out there next year.
I'll be
But yeah,
very
definitely.
honest with you. I didn't like the Dolphins until I went to a game 3 years ago. And that's when the parties really, there's nothing like going to a game at the Hard Rock Stadium.
He's
Tony,
saying it's,
BX said he heard
Like
it's
the
a terrible
opposite.
stadium.
he's got to be
BX,
busting your balls.
it might not be a great stadium, but I'll tell you one thing, the atmosphere inside makes up for all the seat malfunctions.
I heard the seats are great. I heard there's a guy.
I
at work
love it.
that went
I
there.
love it. I don't
It's
like the first
nice
level.
country, yeah.
I love this. I go in the second level. The guy who gives me the tickets owns an air conditioning company, and I get his tickets. Let me tell you something. It's like a party the whole night.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, I definitely check that out.
You
Well, I tell
guys
you
ain't
what,
done
BX.
nothing until you've been to Heinz Field, the big ketchup bottle. Well, now it's called Acra. I can't even say the freaking name.
You know what? I
I'll
gotta
still
be very
call it the
honest
big
with you.
ketchup bottle.
But I'm going to be very honest with you. I seen this poll a few years ago, and somebody said the only people who like Pittsburgh and home games are Pittsburgh Steelers fans.
That's it.
You can't get people from Miami to want to go there for a playoff game. It never happened.
I'll tell you though, we travel well.
Yeah,
You do,
Steelers fans
but-
show up everywhere.
I'll tell you something. Buffalo traveled just as good as the Steelers did against
Yeah,
Miami the
Kansas
last game of the
City.
season.
Kansas City does too.
Well,
You know,
here's what I
Teams that
but
just
here's-
travel well.
Here's what I like what Kansas City did. They're going to sell the tickets at face value, okay? No matter what they paid. They're not telling you what they paid for all the tickets. they
Detroit Stiggy, welcome. Good to see you.
bought. Hey, Detroit Siggy, what's up, my man? I like this guy. He's a good guy. He's got some great videos too.
Awesome. We're gonna give him a wrench right now.
But BX, I tell you what, man. Next year, come to a game. You'll see the difference. Don't let other people tell you what goes on in there.
Yeah, you got to experience it for yourself, I'm sure. Make your own.
I tell you
opinion.
what, buy a hot dog and a beer, you almost get a lap dance. No, I'm just kidding. not quite that far, but close.
That's good, man. For how many close calls? Could you imagine this? So you see how many close calls there are in games in the challenge flag, and see how many calls get overturned. Could you imagine that we actually used to watch
should be-
football games
You
before?
got. I just gave you a wrench, Stig.
No, I
Detroit Stiggy.
can't. You know what really turned this?
Crazy.
You remember the Saints game? Who'd they lose to? The Rams that year or the Packers with that bullshit called? It should have been interference.
That's
it
interference.
was-
Yeah, that's the one year I think where you're talking about where they lost in that low scoring Super Bowl, right? To the
No, they
Patriots.
lost in the championship game. The Saints did to somebody.
Oh, okay.
I think it was the Rams or the Packers. I don't remember.
No,
and
it
that
was
changed.
it was the Rams versus the Saints.
Dave T said it was the Rams. Okay, that changed shit forever, ever. They brought interference into replay the next year. Stupid
Yeah.
fucking rule, and you got people confused because that rule don't exist no more. BX, absolutely, I get 4 a game.
Yeah, I'd love to go. Yeah,
Bring him,
but
BX.
you think of how many calls get overturned, and you watch them, and okay, it was obvious. It might have been bang bang, but the replay, you see how obvious it is. And can you imagine how many games could have went the other way when before replay?
All right,
like,
let me ask you both of this. Chris, let me ask you this and think about it. You're in Kansas City. The wide receivers lined up off sides. Okay, I would say 30% of the time they are lined up off sides. Aren't you supposed to? It's a gentleman's agreement that the ref gives the receiver a heads up on the sideline.
Yeah, he'll tell him back. Yeah, definitely.
All
Well,
right.
usually
You know
they
that.
put like, their arm up, and you know what I mean. He looks over to check, right?
Yeah,
Right,
100%.
right. So now they didn't even give the receiver the heads up. I think they wanted Buffalo to win that game because they were taking so much heat early in the year for the shit that Kansas City was getting away with. I mean, come on. Travis Kelce actually threw somebody on the ground and caught the ball a second later.
I'll give you
There was
some.
shit.
I'm glad you said that with Kansas City. I want to give you guys something to watch for in that with Kansas City. Watch their right tackle. I'm just saying it because you brought it up, and it just because I go back and watch games a lot. I'll watch the game. So I noticed Kansas City's right tackle. I forget his name. Oh, off the top of my head, Taylor, whatever. He's a known tackle, right tackle. I'm going to tell you right now. Watch him with full starts. 70% of the time, the guy is jumping way early, and they never call a full start on him. Watch the right tackle, Kansas City this week.
But that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
They do it all the time, and it's
But
not called.
since when did they give the right tackle the second before the snap? Since when?
Okay, you can't play around as much in a championship game as you can this week if there is some favorable calls. If you're the NFL, who do you want in the Super Bowl? Don't forget about the other teams.
Yeah, that's
right
what
now.
it's about. You're right.
Out of this team, do you want Mahomes or do you want Josh Allen?
You probably
guys
want
answer
Mahomes again, right?
100%
Or you think they want
love it.
Allen? I don't know what they freaking want. I can't figure them out.
Josh
I'll
Allen
tell you
is
what.
not.
I used to always
Mahomes-
lose with the Chiefs.
Mahomes
betting
the better
on the
story.
Chiefs. I don't know why, but betting on the Chiefs, they would never cover for me until recently, but they are now.
I just find it too hard to go against the Chiefs.
Well, I mean, you brought
It's
up
hard.
some very,
It's
very
tough.
valid things.
I was breaking balls last week with the Steelers. We're talking about a completely different beast. We're talking about a team that's ready to go in this
Oh, yeah.
weather. We're talking about a team
Great
that's
coach.
not going to get. You're not going to see a delay, even if there is a snowstorm. They're not going to put this off till Monday. This gets played Sunday, no matter what. I just think the Chiefs are mentally better prepared than the Bills, and I think that loss to the Bills gives them a little bit more of what they could look at foresight instead of the way the Bills were celebrating that they won a road game. The Chiefs have been there, done that. This kid's got two. Kelsey's not going to be around too much longer, guys.
No, I agree. I agree
pick the
with the
Chiefs.
Kelsey.
That's why I like the Chiefs.
Hey, let me ask you guys a quick question on just changing it up completely. We don't
Yeah.
have to stay on this. I heard recently today, and I saw it online, that like China just came out with made this new COVID-19, and it's supposed to have 100% kill rate or something. I heard it by a bunch of people today.
That's the one that goes right directly into the lungs and poisons the lungs. That's
So
not actually new. It's been around for a while. They just kept it undercover. And there's another reason with this bullshit damn cabinet we got. They should have stopped travel restrictions as soon as this hit over there. I know guys here who are dying and getting sick from it.
Man, it's COVID-19. Well, I mean, I don't know.
You notice COVID has picked up again lately.
Yes, it has. It has.
Okay, so that should tell you all you need to know right there. I mean, last time they were worried about San Francisco and the Bay Area getting hit first. Let me tell you something. They got one case, I think, and then it just swamped to the East Coast. They couldn't even keep tallies.
Yeah,
I didn't like the way they handled that at all. I blame a lot of people. They should have shut down borders as soon as they knew that was coming. Same thing with the SARS or STARS that time, whatever the fuck it was. They don't look at the big picture, and we lost how many people because of it.
Yeah, BX, I hear you. Yeah.
You can't say that word. Just say the package.
That's what they do. I believe you can't even broach that.
That's crazy. I apologize. Just switch the
that's
subject.
right. Just say the package. No, they say the package. Since this package has come around the first time and now it's gotten stronger, now we got a problem here in this country.
Yeah.
Crazy, man. Crazy.
I've seen friends of mine. Look at the people we got on YouTube. You got Angel, you got Tommy Stiggs, you got a few other guys who got it in the last month.
Yeah, it's going around. My mom's in a nursing home. The whole fucking nursing home has it. But
Yeah, I hate to say it. I don't know how old your mom is now. I would be worried about that. That was the biggest damage down in Florida with the nursing homes.
well, it's passed, and she actually did pretty good with it. I mean, it's not as well from what I've seen. It's not as bad this time around as it was when it first hit. But I saved my dad. I probably killed my dad, almost killed him, and saved his life. Because I came home, I'm working. I came home. I got to take care. My mom had dementia, was living here at the time, so I had to help out. And my dad got COVID really bad. I didn't even know he had COVID at first. I'm sorry, the package. I was going to Walgreens. We didn't have a thermometer in the fucking house, and I had to go to Walgreens to pick something up. I don't even remember what I was getting. And I happened to be checking out, and there's this little $3 plastic thermometer on the counter that I wasn't even thinking about getting. I just saw it, got it, came home, took my dad's temperature. It was like 103. Called the ambulance immediately. Doctor said if we didn't get him there when we did, he could have been dead. His kidneys were shutting down from dehydration. So
Yeah, because they read the kidneys and the lungs first if they treated it right. So there you go. It was a kidney problem. Let me get to this real quick. They're talking about Porzingis. Let me tell you guys something about Porzingis. I seen him play in person from the second row at Madison Square Garden about 15 to 20 times. When he's not injured and he's right, he probably could have been an MVP of the NBA. Without a doubt.
Who's the fucking guy in the Spurs, the rookie? I forget his name, the French dude.
Oh, Akawande, whatever the hell his name.
The big
the 7'5" guy.
People are saying the best. I said, listen, to me, he's going to be like another Porzingis. Like that was my concept.
Has he been? I didn't take it seriously because they all say 7'5". He can dribble, he can shoot, but you're also playing against NBA defenses now. You're not playing against some guys where he was playing overseas. Right. But I seen Porzingis do it against NBA players. I mean, Porzingis in his prime and Porzingis when he's healthy has every facet of a game. He can shoot, he can dribble, he can post up really well, and he can also pass the ball dynamite.
Yeah, Victor Wembanyama. Yeah.
Wembanyama he's good, and he's already made a few players look foolish. But let's see if they play a team like the Warriors and what Draymond Green does to him to get him out of his game.
Yeah.
I'm not saying Draymond Green is good. He's good. He's like if Rodman was around, this guy wouldn't do shit if they played in a series.
Oh, Rodman would eat him up.
Exactly. And he'd take the heart out of guys 7 foot or better his whole career. Yeah. So let's see him do it against guys like that.
My favorite player was Barkley. I love Barkley. 6'5", leading the league in rebounding. But
I tell you why Jordan's my favorite player. We finally got media when he broke into the league to New York and the rest of the world. And we were able to follow so much of the Bulls. He was not my favorite. He was, to me, the best player that ever will be.
Oh,
and then to watch The Last Dance. I mean, anybody who doesn't see that this guy was psycho, that when he was filming a movie,
absolutely,
that he actually built a bubble and a basketball court and brought basically better than the dream team to practice with him.
Yeah,
I mean, that to me was the biggest thing that showed that he wanted competition. That guy didn't sleep.
He was insane. I don't think there was a more competitive player in all of sports. I don't know if it's if this was on The Last Dance. I heard it somewhere. It might have been. But so when Jordan retired, I don't know if it was the first time or the final time, whatever, with the Bulls. The Bulls got some hot shot rookie or whatever, and they're filming him in practice. And after practice, this hot shot rookie is saying, "I wish Jordan was still here so I could kick his ass 1-on-1." Jordan was in Southern California, got on a plane and flew there and was there the next day and said, "Here, check ball." He took it personal.
And that's the guy, if you go back to The Last Dance, when he was on the plane, he says, "I'm going to film this and send it to your parents." What's his name? Stacey King or some shit like that?
Yeah, Stacey King.
There was a Stacey King. I don't remember, but that's just crazy, man. I mean, look, in the 6 NBA finals, there wasn't one team in the final series out of the 6 that took them to game 4.
But here's
they're
the
just
problem. But
dominant.
here's the problem. I was watching that, and you see Barkley. Barkley says we didn't get. He goes, myself included, didn't get over the fascination of the Bulls' whole persona until the game 3. He goes, and
Yeah.
I blame myself for that. I
Very
thought.
sorry, Bucky. Very sorry about that.
What happened?
Uh, um, I'll pull it back up.
Oh, Bucky, I'm sorry to hear that, buddy.
Yeah, I lost.
Bucky's a good guy, man.
Yeah,
Sorry
absolutely.
about that, buddy. I thought the team that could have been best composed to compete with them was going to be the Utah Jazz, because Malone never got overwhelmed, Stockton never got overwhelmed, and you know what? Seattle was just very arrogant the way Gary Payton ran that show out there. He thought he was going to stop Michael Jordan and the Bulls.
Well, they didn't. I mean, they should have let Gary Payton D up Jordan instead of waiting till like game 3 or whatever. But it's funny what you say about Barkley. Listen, Michael Jordan is the only professional athlete that got in my head as a fan. I felt it. I was such a diehard Sixer fan with Barkley, Hersey Hawkins, Johnny Dawkins, all of them. They'd win the Atlantic Division. They'd get by the Cavs or their first round. You'd meet the Bulls, and even if they got a game, you just knew. Like, I was mentally beat. I knew no matter what. He fucked me up.
I'll tell you something else, and I'm glad Dave T brought this up. I don't know if they win the last 3, and believe me, I'm not crazy, if it wasn't for Tony Kukoc and Dennis Rodman.
Oh, well, that was huge. Absolutely.
I mean, think about it. They didn't have Rodman there, and they almost knocked the Knicks out the year he was retired.
Yeah.
You know,
absolutely.
You give Scottie Pippen Rodman that year, that might have made a difference.
Yeah.
Rodman, I'm sorry, Pippen also didn't like Kukoc, and Jordan convinced him he's part of the team now. This ain't the Olympics where we got to kick his ass again.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, Pippen still had it in his head. Pippen still had it in his head that he was an enemy when he got there.
Oh,
yeah.
You know,
they took it.
Let me ask you guys a question. Being that you're talking about this, you notice I stay real quiet with the basketball talk. You know, of course I followed it, but not like crazy basketball fan. I'm a Knicks fan, but whatever. But it has to do with the Bulls. You know, Jerry Krause. What did you guys think of everybody booing his widowed wife when they were?
Low life.
Wasn't that like the one of the worst?
Low life.
And I've been involved in some bad shit at Yankee Stadium where we booed many people, but that had to be the worst thing I've ever seen displayed.
Low life shit.
What they were honoring Jerry Krause as a GM or something, and his widow wife was there. She's in her 80s, while they honor her late husband, and everybody's booing, and she's crying like it was horrible. It's just like low life shit.
But but wait, here's what you're forgetting. Here. And I'm gonna make a point to this: if Michael Jordan was there, it wouldn't have happened. All right, Michael Jordan knew how to.
I'll tell you what, I saw Michael Jordan's very last game ever when he's with the Wizards. The only game I saw with him. And they played against the Sixers, and they put on such an awesome halftime show for him.
Absolutely, Mike.
You know, like they had like Boys the Men there. And not that I listened to them, but
you got to remember something too. When they did boo the lady, you had a big transition into the new age player. You had that's one thing I'll give LeBron James. He's very, very classy. LeBron James knows how to behave himself. And, of course, he's up there, but I don't think he's the second best basketball player I ever seen.
Well, I mean, it's second best would either have to be Wilt Chamberlain or Kobe, I guess, right?
I like Kobe. Kobe's got more rings than him, but I think everybody's forgetting, and it's something to talk about pretty soon, is Curry.
Yeah, Steph. I mentioned that the other day, like, you know, when there's the last one he won. I said, you know, is he one of the best of all time now? He's in. You got to.
I would say the way I rank it right now, from what I've seen here. Let's forget about Chamberlain and Russell for a minute. I would say I would take, because Russell's got to be right there. Forget about Chamberlain's numbers. Russell shut him down when he had to. But I would say it's Michael Jordan, Kobe, and either LeBron or Curry. I mean,
Well,
Kobe's
yeah.
got the rings. Kobe's got the rings without Shaq too.
Yeah, he won one without Shaq. Well, Kobe was more like Jordan, where he wanted the ball at the end. He was an assassin. I know, like LeBron James is a super talent, but I've seen him come up short and just kind of like be passive. Then when the game's on the line in big games, he just looks. I don't know, like that one.
I tell
game
you what. I tell you what I think though. I think he played his best basketball as a player in Cleveland because he's got a lot more talent around him out in LA coming and going, and it's just like something ain't clicking right. I mean, look at the roster. He had star players on that roster, but Love and Kyrie Irving were hurt in Game 7.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
I mean, this guy literally carried a team with J.R. Smith.
Yes, he did. Yeah, he did. Absolutely.
Hakeem the Dream.
The most underrated NBA player of time,
I think
in my
Hakeem's
opinion.
great.
Hakeem.
I don't think he's underrated at all. BX, they pay him $100,000 for 3 days of lessons. NBA players. Hakeem makes more money in the off season than he ever made in his career.
That's incredible. No, he was great, man. I'll never forget when Shaq, when he first made it to the finals versus the Rockets, and Hakeem just ate him up, man. Not by overpowering him, but he just had him so off balance, leaning one way, going the other.
Didn't Hakeem take Patrick Ewing to school in that finals? I remember the Patrick Ewing getting.
No, not really. John Starks kind of. He was better player, but
1 for 20, whatever he was.
Starks really blew that game. Let's be realistic.
And Riley stayed with him. Kept going, but I love Riley. I love those Knicks teams, but whatever.
Yeah, and you had that other guy on the bench there. What was his name? Number 20 that they got from the Mavericks.
Rolando Blackman.
Rolando Blackman never got off the bench that game.
Jeez.
And I wasn't a huge basketball fan, but I knew that team
back then.
Yeah, the night of the OJ chase. Remember that?
Oh man, they broke in. Yeah, missing the Knicks finals. First time they get to the finals, we're watching fucking Al Cowlings so they had to drive the Bronco. Yep.
Yeah, they had the little picture of the Knicks game up in the left-hand corner of the screen.
Yeah.
That's
but
funny.
I tell you what, I would have liked to look at what Hakeem did to Shaquille O'Neal.
That's what I just said.
Out of there.
That's what I said.
Hey.
The Magic's first.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, he ate him up. He had him fucking totally off balance. He made a fool out of Shaq that series. Hakeem's great.
Shaq said, he goes, I'm going to be honest with you. He goes, my two hardest guys to compete against, he goes, of course it was Hakeem. He goes, but the Asian guy, the Chinese guy.
Oh, Yao Ming.
Yao Ming shut him down almost every time they played.
That was Yao Ming's first game in the NBA was versus Shaq, and he did well.
Yeah, he had 4 blocks or 5 blocks, and he out-rebounded him consistently. He was swatting Shaq away.
Yeah. I know, that's nuts. Guys, listen, it's getting a little later. I got to wake up at 5 a.m. It sucks.
All right. Good night,
Right.
Chris. Thank you, brother.
We'll
be back. So we'll get in touch with you. We'll be back probably Sunday. We're going to figure something out and do a watch.
Yeah, just email me, whatever. You got my phone number. Call me. I'll stay in touch.
Thank you, brother.
All right, you guys be good, guys.
Have a nice night, buddy. All right, Craig, shoot. What do you got?
No, that's it. I just want to tell everybody tomorrow night, whoever's left in the chat, we got Jimmy coming back, going to share some special things with us. And I just want to thank everybody for coming. And we'll see you tomorrow night at 8:30 with Jimmy DeMonica. Tone?
See you guys then. Thank you so much, everybody, for showing up tonight. And just thank you. I love all you guys for coming all the time.
Absolutely. Loyal soldiers. Thank you so much. And believe me, guys, we're going to grow and we're going to do some good things. We're not going to talk about it. We're going to be about it. All right? So we're not going to promise. We're going to just do it. You'll see. We're going to have something really good here. We got a good vision. Together, me and Tone make a good, we're going to do this right.
All right, guys. Have a nice night, and thank you so much. We'll see you tomorrow.
All right, guys. Be well. God bless. Stay safe. Tone, I'll talk to you later, bud.
You got it.
Good night.